Just ahead on American Black Journal, one of my favorite shows of the year, a preview of the 41st Annual Detroit Jazz Festival. We'll get the details on how you can watch this Labor Day weekend tradition because it is going virtual, and we'll have a performance by the festival's winning college band, plus a powerful musical work that pays tribute to Black men killed by police. Stay right there. American Black Journal starts now.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, MASCO Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. MASCO, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by NISSAN Foundation, Ally, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. The global pandemic has put a stop to a lot of large public events, but a Detroit tradition is not missing a beat. The Detroit Jazz Festival is adapting to the health and safety guidelines by going virtual. Performances over the Labor Day weekend will take place on indoor sound stages without audiences, and the festival will be streamed and broadcast live. I talked about the new format with Chris Collins of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation and Jasmine DeForest from the presenting sponsor, Rocket Mortgage. So Chris, ordinarily this time of year you would be one of the busiest men in Detroit. I get the sense that you are even busier this year, but all for a good cause, and that's to make sure that this wonderful festival that really defines our region is not interrupted by the pandemic. Tell us how that is going to work this year.
Well, we started many months ago when this began. We figured there were going to be a need for some changes, and we put a task force together, worked out many different scenarios for contingencies, and then worked with experts and watched the CDC data. And of course, we finally got to the point where we had to protect our patrons. So we went no audience. We moved to virtual, and then we were very concerned with the recent upticks in movements, and we decided it was best to postpone some of the out-of-town national guests. And we came up with the new format and the new lineup that everyone sees now, which has an amazing mix of artists and, of course, emphasizes our great world-class talent in Detroit, which makes it special. The final format being one where, our 2020 Detroit Jazz Festival, presented by Rocket Mortgage again, which 5th year. Thank you, guys. You came back with us and made it special even in this difficult time. It was very meaningful. And but our logo this year is safe, live, and free, which it has been for 41 years. But in this case, it is safe. It is also live. I insisted that we were not going to do this unless it could be live jazz in Detroit on exceptional stages with exceptional sound and video quality. We wanted to up the threshold of what that is. And we have an incredible team thanks to the fact that we're a no admission festival, and we have this robust broadcast technology with Detroit Jazz Fest Live. We were in maybe a singular position to go ahead and make this happen. And so here we are, one of the last standing festivals, 12 hours of broadcast per day, September 4th through 7th. And it's available. We want to make sure it was for everyone. So it's not only online at Facebook Live and Instagram for free. It's on our Detroit Jazz Fest Live app, but it's also on WDET Radio. It's on portions of it on WRCJ and WEMU, Detroit Public Television, and all of it is on our Arts and Entertainment Channel 22 here in Detroit. So the fact is, whether you have Wi-Fi or not, you can hear it, you can see it, you can enjoy it for free. And we've maintained the mission, we've maintained the excellence, we've maintained the artistry. It's the real Detroit Jazz Festival, just in a new, interesting format.
Yeah. So I wonder, given all of the different ways people are going to be able to watch and hear, whether your footprint is a little bigger this year than it would normally be.
Nothing replaces real live in-person jazz. It's a social music, right? But again, our presenting sponsor, Rocket Mortgage, and along with many of our sponsors, JP Morgan Chase, DTE Foundation, Carhartt, Mac Avenue Music Group, The Dirty Dog, Absopure, these cats stayed with us. So we still have sound stages. They are full stages, full backline, full sound. So the artist experience, they feel as though they're playing in a real venue. All the venues were custom built indoors, so no rain problems this year. Let's give it up for that. And all in the Marriott Renaissance complex in huge spaces. So the level of quality will be stupendous. But also, this idea of virtual, of online, we've been doing it for years. So we have a robust program in place and great experts to make it happen. But we're also very aware, like every business, there's great investment in infrastructure here that is going to allow us to amplify, expand the digital domain as we move forward as a way of reaching more demographics, more of the world, introducing them to Detroit. And to your point, it suggests a whole another level of evolution that has come through this moment that made all of us be creative and reinvent ourselves, pivot, call it what you will. The end result is something that we'll all carry forward and hopefully improve who we are and what we are.
Yeah. Jasmine, as Chris said, this is the 5th year that Rocket Mortgage is the leading sponsor for our jazz festival. Tell us what's different for you guys this year as we have to make adjustments in every part of our lives.
Every part of our lives, as I say every year, Rocket Mortgage is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the Jazz Festival. It really puts our city on a national scale, and it shines just such a positive light on the city of Detroit. And internally, we have had to do the pandemic pivot, which is what I've been calling it on so many different levels. We have a community festival, Detroit Out Loud, that was held live last year at Rouge Park, that we've had to turn into a virtual festival. And there's a great learning curve around that, making sure that it's quality, that it looks good, that there's programming for everyone. And so we understood all of the hoops and the research and everything that Chris and his team put into and invested in to bring the Detroit Jazz Festival here again virtually this year. And it takes a lot of work. I think the assumption is it's virtual, it's online. That means that it's easier, but it takes the same amount of work, if not even more work, especially considering the COVID precautions that everyone has to take when you're doing these live sets. You have to have someone who's checking temperatures and wearing masks and all of those sorts of things. And so we really wanted to come back as a presenting sponsor, because this is what not only Detroit needs, but the world needs: jazz and good music, and just an opportunity to relax, with some good music, great talent for the holiday weekend, especially going into the fall with so much with schools and everything else. So, it's great that Chris decided to do the pandemic pivot and to bring the Detroit Jazz Festival back again, but virtually. And he and his team are just working incredibly hard to make sure that it's an amazing experience for everyone.
Yeah. So let's talk about the lineup. Who people will be able to enjoy the Jazz Festival. That's my favorite thing, of course, every year is who's coming to Detroit to be part of this. Chris, who should I be looking for?
Well, I'll tell you, we're very fortunate. We have some special moments. We are celebrating the 80th birthday of Pharoah Saunders. He's going to be with us. He wanted to be here. He said it's an absolute because everything else got canceled. And as my mom once said, if you're walking down the street and someone's in trouble and you're the only one there, guess what? It falls on you. So I said, let's do this. In addition to all the economic pieces with our crew and artistry, we wanted to make it happen. And Pharoah wanted to be there with us. So his 80th birthday, along with one of our Untitled series presented by Quicken Mortgage. Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Robert Glasper is with us this year. The great Renee Marie is with us. Steve Teray, the incredible trombonist and shell player. Joey Alexander, along with this incredible host of world-class Detroit talent. Robert Hurst presenting Black Currant Jam. Naima Schamberger and the Sister Strings Program. James Carter, Organ Trio. Rodney Whitaker, Septet. Walter White Big Band. Lulu Falls and Chris Johnson. And a very special piece is opening the festival. We're calling it Justice. It's a 4-movement piece. Each movement is presented by a different ensemble that's playing elsewhere at the festival, and they've composed an original work, and it deals with the amplification of all these issues, the fact that we're revisiting issues and understanding that there's been movement in some areas and no movement in others, and we're forced to look into ourselves. So Justice is a piece that gives us a chance to express those emotions and feelings musically. So movement 1 is Naima Schamberger with the Sister Strings Program. They're doing a traditional African spiritual, Kumbaya, rearranged, and then the all-stars from the Detroit Jazz Festival doing one of my pieces, Fear and the Fearless, and then Michael Jellick on solo piano, Promise and Perseverance, and then Robert Hurst Group wraps it up in the 4th movement with Just Us for All. And there'll be pieces of John Lewis in there. There'll be all sorts of little messaging and beauty. And it's a coming together of our community to make one joint statement. We'll use all the stages contiguously. It's going to be a very beautiful expression at the beginning of the festival. So there'll be those special moments and unexpected pleasures, visits by some of our national artists we had to postpone. They'll be visiting us throughout the festival, and a lot of surprises along the way.
Yeah. Chris, talk about the power of art like this at this moment, not just during the pandemic, which is, this global tragedy that we're all trying to get our minds around, but also this moment in America where, as you point out, we're talking about progress. We're talking about the lack of progress. We're seeing people push harder for things to change. Art has always been a vehicle for this, and jazz, of course, has a closer relationship to some of these issues than other art forms. It seems to me like the festival in some ways is just bigger this year than it has been in the past because of what else is going on.
This is a very important moment. Jazz is a Black music, but I can tell you from my perspective as a jazz artist, it welcomes everyone. If you're a player, if you're a patron, if you love it, if you respect and understand it, you're welcome to the party. So there's a very important moment here that speaks to many of the things happening in our community and around the world. And sometimes music and art can be that vehicle. It can remove some of the language, some of the predetermined narrative in politics, because it becomes more ethereal. It becomes about a feeling, an expression, and it helps to maintain and propagate a conversation and an exploration of truth in a very open-minded way that you can't always get when you're just conversing. And of course, music, art in general is the primary representative of human history. And in fact, when I was asked at the very beginning, why did you announce in March, the same day the governor announced the stay-at-home order, that you were having the Detroit Jazz? Why don't you just cancel it like everyone else? And I said, hope. We need hope. I don't want to put the Festival Foundation out of work for a year and all the money that would go to artists and crew. We need to continue on this path. And if we have to cancel a lot of data, we will, because health and safety is first. But if art can survive, it needs to be a part of every moment in life because it feeds us. It's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's a moment, as Jasmine said, of celebration in the good times and the bad times. It reminds us we're a community. It reminds us we're a human collection of minds and souls.
Yeah. And Jasmine, the connection between Jazz Fest, Rocket Mortgage, and Detroit, and downtown Detroit, which is where we would normally be getting ready to do this, is again part of that elevation of the whole idea of the festival and the music, the art, and the moment. I feel like you guys are also committing to the idea of art speaking to us the way it does, especially here in Detroit.
Definitely. And I know for my team specifically, We support diverse and inclusive events that attract a wide range of audiences and that also affect the economic impact and growth of the city of Detroit. And, although the Detroit Jazz Festival, when it happens live, it happens in our backyard, within our footprint. But as I've always said, the Detroit Jazz Festival for us is more than just having the backdrop of downtown, right? Of course, downtown is beautiful. It definitely has great impact on the businesses, the retailers, as well as the restaurants that are in the downtown area. And that's another negative effect of the pandemic, that we won't see that foot traffic that impacts those amazing businesses in that area. But to Chris's point earlier, there's great economic impact in continuing the event because of the fact that they're still able to hire great technical talent, event planners, the caterers, the hospitality industry, the lighting techs, the camera operators, all of these folks who have been laid off or furloughed from various art and cultural institutions and organizations throughout the city of Detroit, as well as the talent, right? Because we need to be able to support creatives. We need to be able to support creatives on and off screen, right? And so this is, or on and off the stage, and this is just a great opportunity to do that. 80% of what I support as a director of community sponsorships is primarily around art and cultural initiatives. And this just ties a great thread. The Jazz Festival is not just about, it is about the music, but the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, Gretchen's Legacy, they're doing year-round programming, educational programming. They're connecting and bridging gaps between youth coming up in the jazz game, as well as icons and legends who are able to share stages and to be able to not just learn from Chris, but other, icons within the jazz area, especially even Detroit natives who are a part of this culture and a part of this genre of music. And so it just, it makes sense for us. It's a year-round celebration that a lot of people don't even realize all of the work that they're doing year-round in terms of tying threads and connecting to the community and really reaching back and saying, let's grab these young cats, as Chris likes to say, and connect them with Aditi or connect them with, me and, mentorship and all those sorts of things. And so art really makes the world go round. And I know a lot of response to COVID was your immediate priority. So it was food, it was housing, jobs, all of those sorts of things, right? And now we're seeing that our art and cultural sector organizations, whether if it's music, whether if it's museums or cultural groups, still need that support, because art is what makes us move, right? It's music, it's culture, it's the celebration. It's the thing that when you see those movies that are like apocalyptic movies or zombie movies, and that person finds the book, or they find a violin, or they find an old vintage guitar. Those are like the bright moments in these movies. And so we have to continue to support our art and cultural organizations just to make sure that it continues, because we need it now, and we'll need art, music, and culture into the future. It tells our story.
And now we have a special treat. Each year, the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation holds a collegiate combo competition to recognize the jazz programs at colleges and universities. This year's winner is AK Squared. Take a listen. And finally today, a powerful musical piece that connects with the Black Lives Matter movement. Seven Last Words of the Unarmed is an original work that uses the last words of Black men killed by police or other authority figures. It was first performed by the University of Michigan Men's Glee Club under the direction of the school's director of choirs, Dr. Eugene Rogers. Aaron Dworkin of Arts Engines spoke with Dr. Rogers about the work's compelling message and his decision to produce it at the university.
You have programmed some phenomenal works, and I thought I would just start right off the bat. One of those, of course, is the Seven Last Words of the Unarmed. For our viewers who may not be aware of it, could you first just kind of share what is the work? And then I kind of want to delve into the programming aspects of it.
Sure. Seven Last Words of the Unarmed is a multi-movement work originally written for tenor and bass ensemble with chamber strings and piano that basically uses the last words and correspondences of Black men or young men who were killed before their time by authority figures or police. Joel Thompson is the amazing composer of that work, and I had the real honor and privilege of working with him and championing that work. So that work really changed both of our lives in some way. And so, and honored that it has had, now I feel like it's getting its due recognition for the powerful message and work that it is.
Just wondering kind of your thinking as a leader in terms of why did you program it to begin with, and were there risks?
I think the sky is the limit with programming, and we really limit ourselves when we only go to the status quo. I'm always a fan of trying to find new voices and emerging composers. You know, Joel was only 25 then when the work came to me, and really he wrote it never to be performed. And so I have to be honest, when I first got the work, I sat on it because I wasn't sure at that time, 2015, you know, Black Lives Matter was not as universally recognized as it is now. And so after I couldn't step away because the work spoke to me on so many levels. First and foremost, as a musical work, it was absolutely brilliant the way Joel used so many different compositional devices to set those words. But then as a man of color, African-American man, it just grabbed my heart. And I realized if I was going to program this work with a group of individuals who are not men of color, that we had to find the universal connection. And once I found that and the students were on board with that, with me, I knew that we could go on that journey together. And even though some people said, you know, why would you do this work? I just believe if you can find the commonality and the message that unites us all. And for this piece, it was loss of life. Regardless of how it happened, we all can at least agree that any life that's lost is something to be mourned, right? And so with that, we forged ahead with our students and we framed it Love, Life, and Loss. And the response really was overwhelmingly positive.
You are so passionate about what you do and about our art form. And I'm just wondering, A, where does that come from initially? And the second part of that is, how do you maintain it?
I have made my hobby my career. I mean, I love music and I love people, and I would do these jobs if there was not even a paycheck. That to me, when you get the chance to work with people who are interested in being together and you working with great music, I mean, that for me feeds my soul. And I could do that all day long, really, if the combination of that. And of course, having so many different venues through the Washington Chorus, you know, Exigence and the University of Michigan. So I feel like I get different perspectives at different ways to communicate the art form, and that also helps. And sustaining it, to be honest, Aaron, I think the way to sustain it is constantly making sure you're doing it because you love it. And when you don't love it, you need to find something else to do. And I'm committed to that. I also believe taking time to take a bike ride and have a great meal and just be with friends, you know, that I've tried to find a little bit of heaven every day because and that varies. Sometimes it's a podcast, sometimes it's a blog, who knows? But that is imperative. We all need a little bit of heaven every day. And that for me is in tandem with doing what you love is how I hope to sustain this passion.
That'll do it for us this week. Go to AmericanBlackJournal.org for more information on our guests and to view past episodes. Plus, you can always connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. Stay well, and we'll see you next time.
From Delta Faucets to Behr Paint, MASCO Corporation is proud to deliver products that enhance the way consumers all over the world experience and enjoy their living spaces. MASCO, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by NISSAN Foundation, Ally, and viewers like you. Thank you.